Welcome.
Oh, sorry.
Welcome to the Netflix Club.
Welcome to the Netflix Club, the only show where sometimes I get interrupted, but it's totally cool.
What? I
That's
hate
pretty
that.
good.
Welcome to the Netflix Club, the only show where we hate a classic movie. I'm Alex.
I'm Michaela.
And I'm Amy.
What did y'all do this week?
We watched something real fucking good.
Yeah, we did. We watched I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in This House.
Not for this show, but just because.
Yeah,
And
it was Halloween.
It was Halloween. That's fucked up.
I really thought that we were watching it for the show.
I thought so too earlier today. I took a walk with a friend and I started to tell them about I'm the Pretty Thing, and I was like, wow, I'm so glad I get to review this.
We could, honestly. Do you want to add it in this week?
Quick mini review. It was fucking dope, dank, and delicious. The Triple D, and I would recommend it highly to anyone who likes to be creeped out.
Triple D.
Yeah.
How many D's out of 3 do you give this movie?
I'm gonna slap it with the Triple D.
Triple D.
Coincidentally, also my wrestler name.
Dude. Love it.
Yeah, this movie is like super unsettling. And like very weird, but also not
Poetic.
weird, and also poetic. Yeah. Real good. Real
some
fun.
Very
great
in control
lines.
of
Yeah.
itself.
Fun to look at.
If you like Gilmore Girls and being afraid, that's just my personal theory, that it's kind of like Gilmore Girls in the way that it deals with like 3 different generations of women intersecting with one another, plus ghosts.
Yeah, so like spooky, haunted, uni setting, one setting, mono set. I'm trying to
What's
make
the
up a word,
jargon?
I think,
One
here.
location.
Yeah,
Set-
really
yeah.
good. It's a good movie I'm stealing this from like the Wikipedia page or whatever, but like you can just kind of like get lost in it. Like you can just kind of like not try super hard to understand it, which was kind of a relief because I was a little like altered.
It takes you on an unnerving journey.
True.
Alex, who's already written a review for this movie.
Yes, that's true. I think I give it a 9 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah. That seems pretty solid.
But that was like fresh off of watching it, so.
The high. Ooh, maybe not the best terminology. Alright, rolling right along.
There was something else that we watched this week that was not for the show. Maybe just I watched it.
Oh, you watched that movie.
Oh, I watched Primer again.
Oh yeah.
Which, if you haven't seen Primer, it's a film that's about time travel that like doesn't. It's another film that doesn't really explain itself very well. But like it has enough to sort of keep you going and keep you interested, and like pretty much every time you watch it, there's something else to notice or another piece of the puzzle to figure out. And so, well, it's not necessarily like the most fun movie to watch. Like I think if you give it enough of a chance, like it's an interesting watch.
Nice. You have like an offhand rating for that? Just curious.
That's a tricky one.
For sure.
Because I think it's like really dependent on what kind of mood you're in.
Mm-hmm.
As like are many things, but this one way more specifically. I think that that this movie could easily be a stinker if you're just not in the right mood for it.
You stinker.
But like I'd probably land it up there at like a 7. If you're willing to put in like all the time that it requires to think about this movie, which is sort of a lot of time.
Do your fucking research.
Yeah. I was like looking up some of the like fan made charts for this movie that sort of try to explain the timeline.
When there's a goddamn chart, some supplemental materials. It really
It's like D&D.
Sort of, yeah.
Alright,
I
but for
think
the
that-
show this week. Oh god, so sorry.
No, I think that's leading us
Luana?
into those interesting things lead us into a boring thing.
You may have seen,
Dead Poet Society.
but you've never seen it as an adult with taste.
Oh!
Dude, yeah, this movie was a little dead on arrival.
Yeah.
No. So let's cut that.
No cuts. One continuous take.
No.
This movie. No, I have to agree with that statement. It
Why
lost me
didn't
pretty
you say
quickly.
so earlier?
Jesus, you'd think something starring Robin Williams. Well, starring is maybe an overstatement.
True. So there's
Would.
that guy from House, though.
Stars the guy from House. He has a real name. I read it like this morning.
Yeah, his name's I like read it and was like, I'm not gonna remember that.
It's like such an average name.
Oh my
It's like
God.
Sean John.
Sean John.
Like, I was gonna say Sean Paul, and I was like, just sounds like you're saying Ron Paul, and I didn't
Or
want to do that.
Sean Paul.
Paul
Robert Sean Leonard says
Fuck.
Google.
Dude, what?
Look.
That's just 3 first names, though. Like,
I got one of them, and I feel so good about it. 1 out of 3.
dude, yeah.
Pretty bad, but I'm rolling.
That's only a single D for.
Only
So-
fuck.
Robin Williams maybe not starring, but definitely top billing.
He's probably who you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all his scenes are the most memorable, and he probably takes up less than like a quarter of the movie.
Yo, for
Total.
sure, definitely.
That's true. I always thought he was like, you know, in my memory of the movie before I rewatched it, I thought he was like, he joined the Dead Poets Society after a minute.
Super funny.
But like he never, like, it was always like the kids thing, and like he
Mhm.
never, like, they started it because he
Did
did,
initially,
yeah, but he
like,
never
during
like
his
jumped
time
back
at
in.
the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that like the star of the movie is not the star of the movie is part of the downfall of this film that offers you like a good dozen young faces that you're supposed to recall and journey alongside, and then
Most of whom look nearly identical.
yeah, super hard to keep track of, and
Yeah. Except for the guy from House.
except for the guy from House.
And
Rob
young
Sean
Ethan,
Wilson.
Ethan
Rob shit shouts out.
and young
I guess
Ethan
that's a real
Hawke.
person.
young
Young
Neil.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Young
it was
Ethan-
young.
No, Todd was Ethan Hawke. Neil was Robert Sean.
Oh my god, there
Leonard.
was a real Neil. I didn't know.
Real
I was
Neil.
just saying
Oh.
things.
This is the real Neil.
Is real Neil here. Who's Todd?
Todd was the
Todd
shy-
a sensitive roommate?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was
The
Ethan
sensitive
Hawke?
That was Ethan
roommate,
Hawke.
That was
that's
great. He was super sensy. He was
was
like
great. Sensey.
sensy. And I liked him for it. I wish they did more of that, but instead we follow Robert Leonard, Sean Nimoy.
Neil.
And he's fine. He's like, he's got a passion.
He just likes acting, but
He
his
wants
parents
to
won't let him.
act.
She's like, no, Dad, that's your dream.
Also, just for the record, that also shares less. That plot line shares less screen time than Robin Williams.
Dude,
Which is-
none of the plot lines have as much screen time as Robin Williams.
Well, Robin Williams is on screen and sometimes he's doing stuff, but he's like somehow not really part of the plot.
Yeah, he's
even
like
though
a.
it like hinges upon him, which is super
Yeah,
weird.
and he's like the bright and shining star of the movie. Like, he's what I remember from the movie.
Mhm. Of
So it's
course.
like but he's not like a pivotal. I mean, he is pivotal in that he like incites the boys like free thinking or whatever. But like he's
which
definitely
is like
not
the message of the movie.
right. Yeah, is to think freely. But like he that's all he's there for. And like the main characters of the movie are very boring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally unrelatable.
Yeah.
Super weird that this is somebody's idea of what boys are like, particularly teenage boys, like cooped up together.
Yeah.
Not to like try and stereotype them, but like
Because if you're not familiar, it takes place at a private, all boys
boarding school.
that's also like Catholic or something.
Or
They go to
something.
mass a couple times.
Like not really.
Is there a notch above Catholic? Because that's what this school is. I feel like it's
Super
like very
Catholic.
yeah,
Oh my god.
Catholic squared.
As somebody who went to a private all boys Catholic school, not boarding, this was not my experience, but
Yeah.
there were a lot of privileged kids.
And that is this movie. Boy, oh boy. It's like such a difficult thing to watch, thinking that, or like when the movie wants you to believe that this is like an essential and crucial thing, but at the same time giving it to the people who need it the least.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Damn.
who needs to be like told that they are valuable, like not boys. I mean, yes, everyone at some point, but like the reinforcement that they receive that like that gives them the fucking go ahead to act however and do whatever is like not the message that I am here for in our year of Lord 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the titular Dead Poets Society is a secret society held at the school where just a bunch of students get together, go to a nearby cave and
Smoke pipes.
hang out and read poetry and sort of
Not even weed though, just tobacco.
Be themselves. Whatever that may be, ranging from boring
Racist to sexist.
racist to sexist to asshole.
Upholds the dichotomy that we sort of looked at last week with the witch, wherein like they have to go to nature in order to be free and non-conforming.
Oh,
Just a minor note. I'm not saying the movie's impressive for having done that.
Yeah.
They do have to sneak away to a cave, and that's
that's
a
pretty
Western
fun.
idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get Shy Boy Todd, who the beginning of the movie seems like he's going to be the main character, and he's going to grow and develop out of that shyness and like make friends. Maybe he'll kiss Neil.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
but like as soon as we get anywhere in this movie with a character, they get dropped, and we focus on somebody else.
Well, he just like they solved the problem. Robin Williams was like, "You're cured. You're not anxious anymore."
Give me your barbaric yop.
Oh my God, let me spin you around in a circle while covering your eyes. You're better. That's it. And then you're done.
And then Neil's storyline, we see at the beginning, the dad's like, you can't write for the paper anymore because I want you to be a doctor.
Oh my God, and his dad is Red from that 70s show. He's like, get off that stage, Neil, or I will stick my foot up your ass.
Yeah, and then the entire movie happens, and then Neil's like, oh, I'm going to be in a play. And then his dad finds out like 20 minutes later, and then 20 minutes later, he's in the play, and then 20 minutes later, his dad says, you can't be in the play.
Really, really bad pacing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you're saying right now.
Yes.
But I just want to succinctly...
And by the way, when I say 20 minutes later, I mean that nothing really about that plotline happens in those 20 minutes between. And then there's another boy who...
The really straight one.
Knox is his name.
Ooh, that's such a straight name.
Who sees a girl, and all of a sudden it's the only thing that he can think about, and it's his only character trait, is that he likes a girl. And the best part of his plotline, he goes to a party where everybody's getting drunk, and he kisses the girl while she's asleep. And then the best part happens where her boyfriend sees and then beats the shit out of him.
Fuck yeah.
But the movie thinks that we're supposed to like Knox.
Even though I've been given exactly 0 reasons to.
Yeah, I really like the other guy, because like he's never proven to be... All he did is play football and go to public school. Like,
would you like Neil or Todd? What are you talking? Oh,
the football boyfriend.
Yeah, who's immediately more relatable.
Yeah, like I'm like, cool. Like he's obviously a jock, and like, but like he hasn't proven to me that I shouldn't hate him. Wait, that I should hate him.
Yeah.
Versus Knox, who very strongly proved to me that he does not understand that women are people, and
it's
like a 0 out of 10.
Yeah, and it's like written off as like,
this is the way it is.
His vivacity, you know, like he's daring.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
he's
gonna write a poem and go read it to her at her school publicly.
And what a shitty poem it was.
Dude, and not even think about how it affects her. Like,
yeah.
And then
it's
she agrees to go on a date with him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, to the play.
Yeah. And
that was such a lamely intersecting storyline. She's like, I'm going to the play, of course.
Yeah, why is she going to the play, by the way, that like...
it's her public school.
Oh, it's public school, but the private school boy can try out?
Yeah, he needed like a permission thing or something, but I guess he could try it. I don't know.
It hardly matters because it's so boring.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like...
Dude,
the whole movie, you're just like, okay, can you get to the, oh, Captain, my Captain, which everyone knows is coming.
Dude, that's so funny.
Then
it's true.
The only other boy... worth noting. They're not even worth noting, but like I just need to tell you how fucking dull this movie is Dalton, who just sort of like doesn't do anything, and then at one of the Dead Poets Society meetings he brings some girls and he acts really weird, and then he tells everybody to call him New Wanda, And then...
Which is racist, I think.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah, and then he,
like
draws with lipstick on his
Yeah.
face to, like, emulate war paint, which is fucking gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just, like, starts playing pranks on the administration, and, like, for the rest of the movie, he's just more outgoing than he was before. And that's his character development. And
just to be a little bit more of an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
and, like, that's the thing, is that nobody really gets character development. They're just suddenly different.
Yep.
dude.
Todd had absolutely no character development. He just had that one scene with Robin Williams, and then at the end of the movie, he's ready to defy the administration and stand on top of his desk.
And he throws his calligraphy set, his desk set over the bridge. Or
no, he didn't even.
I know, Neil does that, but that's like the only other scene where he's featured.
Oh, true.
And I just like remember that calligraphy set super clearly from when I watched it in my youth, and I was always like, "Fuck, give it to me with the shit."
Dude,
like,
yeah. Why would you destroy it? Somebody out there doesn't have a desk set and needs that. Like,
somebody
you
doesn't
fucking
have a
asshole.
desk set.
But like the whole movie,
You're right.
they don't think about anybody except themselves, and that's
Totally.
like, and nobody's teaching them to do anything but that. In fact, Robin Williams is like, think about how your life will end,
Jesus Christ.
and then that's the movie.
Also,
like,
on the topic of the desk set, is like supposed to talk about how his parents don't care about him.
Yeah.
Because that's the same exact birthday present they got him last year, which is a super boring gift. But that's the only time it's mentioned that his parents don't care about him. Yeah. And like, no piece of information is picked up and held on as motivation or character development.
And
These
so
boys
singular.
just exist.
Yeah.
and yeah, they're given like some like sad backstory to make them a little more likable, but or relatable or whatever.
But mostly it's bad.
Yeah, the best scenes in this movie, I think, are the Robin Williams scenes.
Yeah.
Because
It's the only
we said this a couple times, I think, where they kind of like the Remus Lupin classroom scenes in Harry Potter, where like they're just fun, and even when he's saying the cliche shit, like, look at all these dead people, they're telling you carpe diem, seize the day.
Oh my god!
Like, I liked all the little messages that he was giving them.
Yeah.
And I think that it's sort of like a common thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's sort of a common thing that people want to have, like, a mentor who's going to teach you things that are going to exist outside of academia. And so, like, seeing Robin Williams there is like a good, like, is like a replacement for that, like the on-screen desire for that or whatever.
I mean, yeah, because like your parent's supposed to be the one who does that, who like is the figure who teaches you something outside of academia. And a lot of them, like, the point is, like, I think that like a lot of them don't actually have like father figures that are like decent. And all the other men who teach at the school are like very distant, and like like they're at boarding school, so they don't see their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And but you need your parents like until you know past the point you're an adult, like, or you're, I don't know, you like need to be taken care of because that's what children need. And so they're like, Robin Williams is like the first person to actually care about them in like forever. Because, like, their parents are all kind of absent and, like, sent them, or, like, emotionally absent at least, like, by sending them to boarding school. So, like, that's, like, sort of what Robin Williams is, like, providing, I think. And, like, yeah, everybody does dream of that, like, having that kind of, like, support. And, or not everybody, but, like, that is a relatable feel.
Yeah.
And in other ways, like, pretty unrelatable movie. And,
right.
like, even that, like,
it's
not super apparent to me. Like, that's, like, definitely a way,
I'm
like,
giving it more credit. It
yeah,
didn't
you're
do
like,
that on purpose.
It did
I'm
not
reading
do
into
that on purpose.
No.
You're right.
And
you, like, when you have to make your own meaning out of it,
Yeah.
I mean, like, not to say that, like, not, that movies aren't just experiences, but, like, that was not, it wasn't crafted in the plot.
I feel like the intent of this movie was not, it had an intent, and it was bad. Versus, like,
so I'm gonna make my own.
Yeah,
better.
Right, exactly.
Yep. So.
So yeah.
I'm not even gonna touch the bit at the end, but just like heads up for everybody. Suicide trigger warning. About like 15 minutes before the end of the movie. Just to let you know.
Once he starts like taking his shirt off, like,
if you don't want to see that, then cut out. But yeah, two things about this movie that is true of most movies is that it needed
100% less white men.
Well, that is my second point, but you're gonna have to let me make it.
Go ahead.
First point needs to be Gare. Just gonna go ahead and say that right now. It reminded me a lot of the History Boys, except more boring and straighter. Not that the History Boys is a good film either, but it dealt with boarding school. Realistically, this is totally a side note, but little Easter egg. My AP US history teacher, who I love, I had a dream about him last night. It doesn't matter, but it's true. But he was also kind of Prince.
Oh my god.
And it was really painful because I was like, I know you're gonna die. And I can't tell you. But I need to email him back because now I'm afraid he's gonna die because why else would I think that he was Prince?
Dude.
He also owned like an ice cream shop. Anyway.
Wild evening
He assigned, the reason I maybe conflate these two movies, History of Boys and Dead Poet Society, is because he assigned them both as an assignment where you had to like watch a movie and do a little write-up about it and like try and extract its meaning with regard to the education system. And when I watched the fucking Dead Poet Society the first time, I was like, dope, okay, cool. But when he was reading through the list of movies that were acceptable to watch, he read off the History Boys, and he's like, I'm just gonna warn you that in England, in boarding schools, in like, I think it was the 60s or the 70s, homosexuality was rampant. And so I just like remember that little nugget of rampant homosexuality.
Oh my god, it's like the barbaric yop, but...
Yeah, sure. And I think that like that's realistic, and like you need to like show those sorts of homosocial relationships.
Completely, yeah.
Because it's like their idea of fucking Dead Poets Society's idea of like relationships is like they keep touching each other's heads, like they're like they pat each other on the head.
They give each other like noogies.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, boys who are friends. Yeah. Also, more people of color. That's what this movie needed. The only person.
You mean more than the nun?
Well, yes, exactly.
A half a second.
There's like literally, if you blink, you miss it. And he works in a kitchen. The black chef, who is like on screen for like exactly no time, which is terrible, terrible, terrible. It was boring. It was white. It was straight. It's your worst nightmare.
No.
I definitely.
Dead Poet Society.
I definitely wrote that like this movie would be twice as interesting if Todd and Neil were like boyfriends or like had any sort of like interest in each other than like this like boring masculine version of friendship.
Yeah.
Like it's so stale and not interesting. There's not anything between them.
If
but
they had been yaoi
like,
boys, like it would have been like, wait, if this movie was an anime, dude.
What? They would have to go to like a fight school.
I'm not gonna touch that one.
It's true though.
Sign me up.
It would definitely fall in like the battle royale category. Like, of course, if they go to school, there has to be a tournament where they all fight each other.
Dude,
because it's an anime. Anyway,
poetry.
Tune in for your favorite bits on the Netflix Club, including what if this were anime?
Honestly, we need to start having that segment.
Yeah, do we want to rate this shit? Or you got anything else to say about this meandering plot?
D's. Negative D.
No D.
No D.
Yeah, this film, I understand why it's like popular and why it sits well in people's memories, sort of like how Catcher in the Rye does, but I think that Catcher in the Rye like definitely has like a more lasting impact than this.
That's a great metaphor. That's a great parallel to draw, I think.
Where like it sort of sticks in a lot of people's heads when they're young. But this movie I think doesn't hold up to criticism after that sort of lens that one might have. It's super boring, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 2 out of 10 actors that look kind of like Amy's brother.
Good ranking.
That's pretty funny. For those, because nobody knows what that's a reference to. My brother is a, like, handsome white boy and looks like a ton of actors that I see on television, and he also wants to be an actor, so I like mention a lot that actor on TV looks like my brother Ryan. Shouts out.
Oh, also, before we get too far away from it,
What?
the guy who wrote the screenplay for Dead Poets Society also wrote the screenplay for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Which I'm not saying is a good movie, but I'd rather watch that one again.
Lamau.
Dude.
Dude, that's so funny.
It
I'm gonna
is better.
dip my toes into drama.
They came out the same year.
Okay, so-
Shocking.
One of them, neither of them are great, so imagine if you had just focused on one.
Oh my god, don't split yourself, son.
Yeah, you burn the candle at both ends.
Oh my god, that's real. Hey, Amy, got a rating?
1 out of 10.
1 out of...
Pull that one.
I did not have a good time.
Alright. You know what? I was miserable as fuck as well, so I'm gonna also give it a 2, even though in my head I was like, 3. And then I heard Alex say 2, and I was like, I can't rate this movie the highest of the 3 of us. So, 2.
Well, thank you for admitting that we influenced your rating.
I mean,
so.
it's true, but ratings are so arbitrary in the first place
That's
that
true.
I need something to influence it because it means almost nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Totally.
Sick.
You gotta ground it. No, I get that.
Wow, on the polar opposite end of dramas, but somehow still dealing with the same themes, we also watched The Wrestler, starring Mickey Rourke.
And we just watched that, so we're still
Hurting.
coasting. Yeah.
Still hurting. Fresh off that one.
Oh man, just imagine if you could focus, if you have to make a movie about a white cis dude, this was the movie to make. You know?
Yeah.
It was because he was vulnerable the whole time, and that's so important. He was not untouchable, which so many white cis men are in movies. I'm missing a bunch of qualified labels.
And the plot.
Oh,
And the name of who you're talking about. You're just saying he.
That's true.
You mean the Ram?
the Ram?
Randy the
Gordon
Ram
Ramsay.
Robinson.
Fuck, that's so good. Alright, everybody, just really quick, think of your wrestler name and get back to me, whether it be now if you've got one waiting or maybe at the end. We can come back to
Okay.
that. Let me know if you've got a wrestler. If you don't, that's okay. One will be provided for you.
The Wrestler is about a wrestler. Specifically, shit. I
Past
don't know.
his prime.
Past his prime. That's a really good way to put it. One who was pretty famous in the 80s, probably the 90s. But as time has gone on, it's now 2007, 2008, and he's really old and beat up and doing amateur league wrestling matches while also doing a part-time job at a grocery store, and his life is just not in a good place. He's barely making enough money to scrape by. He's got a myriad of health problems because he's got the shit kicked out of him, and he's old.
And he's taking steroids.
And he's taking steroids.
And various other drugs that are not prescribed to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just really, you watch him reach the end of his rope pretty quickly, and then I think most of the movie is watching him try to hang on to the very end of
dangling, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so, and I totally agree with what you were saying, Amy, earlier about him being so vulnerable and relatable and sort of the ideal movie if you about a white cis dude if you have to make a white cis dude movie. And more so because a lot of people consider white cis dudes to be the default, which is the most bizarre shit that's ever gotten into our heads. Is that's who the everyman is,
the standard. Yeah.
But in this case, there is something so inherently relatable about his position, because it's in my view almost a capitalist analogy about
totally
what people will take from you and what the world will take from you and what you do in the face of that.
And wow, this movie really throws a lot of my own shit back in my face, because I've been thinking a lot. Let's get real here, but thinking a lot about the effort that I put into my own life and my own relationships, and he never put the effort into like where it was supposed to go consistently. Like
Can
that
you
was
give the examples from the movie?
yeah. So like he wasn't there he left his family, his I guess wife and daughter, partner and daughter. I guess when she was probably like 9 to 11. I don't know if they said exactly, but
Young, yeah.
yeah. And really like was out of touch with specifically the daughter. It focuses on the daughter. And then he is shown to be like kind of flaky, I guess, but like in a way, like not intentionally. He just like falls asleep and like sleeps too long, like didn't set an alarm. He's got like too much to think about.
Totally.
I guess that's the main example. I can't.
Yeah,
Was there
no,
another
no,
one?
I think
Yeah.
that's totally it. Like, he let his family fall by the wayside, and he
Yeah.
finds himself alone.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any friends. Like, the only person he can hang out with is the kid down the block, and he's got Call of Duty 4, which is, like, new and fun, and, like...
Yeah.
He's got Call of Duty 4 and kids his own age.
Yeah, exactly. Like, not the old weird guy who lives in, like, the mobile home, like, near where we, like, play baseball or whatever.
Yeah.
It's, like, yeah.
And his other friend, who's, like, his parallel, is, this woman who works at a strip club.
Pam or Cassidy.
Yeah, and played by Marissa Tomei.
Yes.
Who is stunning.
Yeah, and really,
God.
really good in this movie.
She's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Great counterpart to Mickey Rourke, which is wild.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Like,
Totally.
as far as, like... But, I mean, she still has to adhere to, like, more beauty standards and whatnot than Mickey Rourke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's, like... But it also, like, lets her be natural. Not that makeup is unnatural. I don't want to enforce that dichotomy, but Marissa Tomei's character, Pam, is, like, dressed up and dressed down because it's, like, part of her labor for her job.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like a pretty great sort of, or an understandable relationship that they have, that they might get along really well, because his job as a wrestler is to perform a very, like, masculine, macho sort of thing, but it's not, like, who he is always. Like, he's a wrestler in the ring, and then outside he's, like, a pretty nice guy around the neighborhood. An upstanding, well-loved man about town. And her character, same thing. She works in the strip club. She has to perform some sort of sexualized form, femininity, for men, but outside of that she has a life. She's a mother. She, like, cares about different things. She wants to move. But an interesting thing is that Mickey Rourke, Randy the Ram, is probably upwards of 60 in this movie, and he's just talking about retiring, and he's just at the end of his career. Whereas Marissa Tomei's character is probably just somewhere in her 30s.
I'd say maybe a little bit
maybe
older than that.
a little bit closer to 40.
Yeah.
And, like,
It's not explicitly stated.
Yeah.
Not that it needs to be, but, like... Sorry, carry
but
on.
yeah, and she's at the end of her career. Like, the people at the strip club don't want to pay for her to dance anymore.
That's real. Like, he gets to go on forever, and she... Or
As
as long as he
can
wants.
hold it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Until he
would
can
say
physically...
handle it no
Yeah.
more, which is, like, pretty much the same as her scenario,
Yeah.
really.
I also want to say that she's probably about the same age as he was when he left his family.
How'd you do the math on that?
Because her kid is 9.
Uh-huh.
So, like, that's probably, like, assuming they had a kid around the same time. Like,
I think that's a pretty big assumption, though.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Yeah, because I just, like, I don't know. And I don't even know
I guess she's probably in college. I don't know, I just think that, like, her wanting to move forward, as opposed to, maybe it's not important, but, like,
no, I think
what I was saying, but what I started with, but, like, her wanting to move forward and, like, get out of her job right now or in the movie versus, like, him kind of, like, falling back into it, like, it's all he has, sort of, like, that's where all of his, like, friends are, because he knows everybody. When he goes to the wrestling matches, he's saying hi to everyone, but, like, as soon as he cuts himself off from that world, he doesn't have anybody, and, like, but he, like, it's, like, do I do what I love and die, or do I, like, stay alive and be alone and, like, miserable? Is sort of the dichotomy there.
Yeah.
And the way this movie is, like, filmed and edited is so great. We don't even see his face for like the first 5 minutes of the movie because it does this sort of third person perspective sort of thing where it just follows the back of him for a while.
It almost seems like a documentary.
Yeah.
Up to a degree.
And it's almost like it's giving you his perspective without giving you his point of view. And like we're never really gonna get any information that he doesn't already know, that he doesn't already have. We get like there was one shot that breaks that rule where we see Pam driving to his show, driving to his final match.
That did feel weird too.
But everything else we see is only something that directly happens to him. And that's super interesting. And the way that the fights were shown was very interesting.
Oh yeah.
I loved the scene. It wasn't even like that spectacular, just in like what was happening in it when he's at his like amateur league wrestling match or whatever, and all the dudes get together and start talking about how they're gonna fight that night.
Which is like basically just choreography, and checking in with one another. Like, okay, you do this, I'll do this. Like, it'll be easy.
We'll drag it out for this long, and blah 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 blah, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And we see him preparing, partially by hiding a razor blade in his like costume, so that when he gets hit in the head, we like get a close up of him pulling the razor blade out and like cutting his forehead to make it look like the hit was more impactful than it was. To like play up the drama. And we get that a couple of times where the people on stage are playing things up or sort of playing things differently than what you would see if you're actually sitting in the stands. Where at the final fight you get the guy who keeps going like, are you okay? Like, do you need to stop?
He's literally like, pin me, like.
Yeah, there's just like so much cooperation there. And like so it like really imbues you with like a lot of feelings as a viewer about just like how everyone is doing a job, like everyone is showing up and doing what they are supposed to do,
and they like it, which is really cool. It seems
yes and no. I think that would be a big statement. Because I think you're like, definitely supposed to get that they have like a very complicated relationship with what it is that they do.
Interesting.
Because he like, I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I stand by that. Actually, I don't remember where I was going with that. So
totally.
Okay. Well, the other fight in the movie, the one in the middle before he has a heart attack, where they show you the end of the fight where they're both super bloody, and they go backstage and the medics there start healing them, and as they're like pulling staples out of their body, they cut to the fight to show you how it began and show like just how fucked up all the stuff that happened to them was, like, and how taxing it is to do this.
Like it's not fake. Like, I mean, a lot of it is, but they are like, this movie was like, they're getting hit. Like, they are like suffering for this shit. Like, it is visceral. And like, you don't get body doubles in this, like, in pro wrestling. Like, it is like, you're taking the staple to the back. Like, oh my god. And didn't the other guy say like, doesn't hurt so bad going in, but it hurts really bad coming out?
Something like
and that totally makes sense because of the adrenaline that you're like going through when you're fighting, quote unquote fighting, versus like, you know, afterward in the back, you're sitting there and they're just like yanking staples out of you. God, yeah.
This is a really good movie.
Really good.
yeah.
And sort of like hard to encapsulate the whole thing, I think, and just how good it is.
I mean, you see the like plot of the movie, like the tension that pushes it forward is really about this dude's, the Ram, his ability to either continue with what he was doing, which is ill-advised and dangerous, because he's had a heart attack and they're telling him not to, versus can he salvage what he's neglected outside of his work, and make that worth living for. Because like you see, there's a point in the movie where he decides to stop wrestling, and he goes to his shitty boss, and he's like, do you have more hours for me? And the boss puts him on the deli counter, which is like such a, like, come to think of it, like such a good metaphor that he's like shaving off pieces of meat and like handing them out to people. And he says at another point in the movie, one of the most affecting pieces of dialogue in my humble opinion, and I think it's like widely quoted, is where he is bearing his reality to his estranged daughter after trying to reunite with her, and he says that he's a broken down piece of meat and that he deserves to be alone, but he just doesn't want to be hated by her.
Wow.
And the piece of meat metaphor as like the pounds of flesh that you hand out or don't hand out, and looking where he's allocated himself in his life, having given his like physical health to this thing that is supposed to sustain him, while giving his daughter none, and then like the very blatant metaphor that takes shape of him working behind the deli counter.
And
yeah, because he's just a body that like gets hit. Like that's like, for as far as his career goes, like that's what wrestling is like. So that makes a lot of sense.
And like as far as like that metaphor goes, like everything that sort of culminates before he sort of completely gives up his personal life to just like finish off his wrestling career pretty much, is that he jams his thumb into the meat cutter.
Which, like, I completely understood that, because, like, I would also have that impulse, like, if I worked with that kind of tool, like, I would look at it, just not even, like, a harmful impulse, but, like, you know, just, like, put your hand in it. What happens? I don't know. So, it made a lot of, sorry, I don't know if that's weird to share, but.
Not at all, but I would almost want to slap, like, a self-harm.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, and even for this movie, like, content warning, like,
yeah,
there is, like, a lot of blood and, like, physical harm that people undergo willingly. And,
self-destruction.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Drug use.
Drug use. Yeah, I think that about covers it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
It's a heavy movie.
And that's...
With, like, some unexpected moments of humor, I just want to say. Like, there's some pretty cute and funny parts, which is, like, incidental and like totally realistic in just like the course of a day. Like these amusing things that sort of happen are intact in this movie, which is cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like really great how he is just like a really good dude. How like all the kids in the neighborhood do love him.
Yeah.
They show some sort of affection for him, but they're not his friends.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Great point too about just like he goes around like trying to be so friendly and like so easygoing, and like that's such a like take on masculinity that is like I think like pretty realistic, like not being able to like be serious or like communicate like his needs or his reality, and so like when he manages to do that, it feels like it is so raw, because you don't ever get to that point of like realism, or like that's like what like with toxic masculinity, like that is off the table, like you're not allowed to represent those things. And so it's just like he's beaten into vulnerability and hopelessness and like put into a place where like he has to share his feelings, and that is so fucking real. I don't know if you guys have dad feelings, but like it's like such a like breakthrough for a portrayal of this very masculine dude to be at the bottom of his of everything, really. I mean,
Yeah, him sitting on the floor, like, holding his daughter, like, with his head against her. Like,
yeah, and she's
please
just
don't hate
screaming,
me.
I
And
don't want to see you.
She's like, I don't even hate you. Which is what he asked.
For you.
And that boardwalk scene where they go to the abandoned boardwalk that they used to go to when she was young and it wasn't abandoned then is just sort of like
what a metaphor,
like a greater metaphor for their relationship. Whoa. Which is that there was something there maybe, but now that's empty.
It used to be.
There's nothing there for them,
and you didn't even see it disappear because you weren't there.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's like, oh man, it's
you just get
something.
what's left, which is nothing.
I got chills at that, my boy.
Jesus Christ, what a film! My dad recommended it to me, by the way, which is hilarious.
Super duper good.
God, was there anything else notable that I wanted to say? Yeah, just like transactions and like capitalism. Oh God, one of the other things that is so terrible, like so profoundly awful to hear, is he says, Mr. Rourke says something like, this world doesn't give a shit about me, or like there's no place for me, which like is the reality for like so many people who either can't provide labor anymore, or like don't have like, or can only provide like unskilled labor, quote unquote, which makes them disposable. And so like you try to find like your niche in the world, and his is wrestling, but at what cost? And like, and who is he giving himself up to at that point? Because he has this little monologue before he goes into this ill-advised wrestling match where he says that he'll keep doing this so long as the fans are there. And of course, like once he's been abandoned in like every other arena of his life, he would take the one that might cost him his life in exchange for being seen and being wanted, even if for like the time it takes to get the shit beaten out of you. Just wild.
That's too real.
that final scene is like so amazing, where he does the rematch with his like biggest competitor, the Ayatollah, which like compared to a movie like, I don't know, like Rocky, it's like that rematch is potentially like life threatening because like they're actually punching the shit out of each other, but this rematch is like still play. Mm-hmm. But this could still kill Randy, where it's like he's exerting all of his energy into doing this, and even when the other wrestler is like sees him hurting and is trying to make the game go smoothly for him, like it's still so taxing on all of the dude's efforts.
Yeah.
And that whole last scene is just like very good.
It ended like Birdman.
It kind of did.
And this movie gave me like a Birdman vibe, but like way more relatable because it was like customer service shit, and I was like, that's my life. All the customer service scenes were like so spot on. Like that is like what it is to be. And like I don't know how he made it through that interaction with the old woman who was like talking about the potato salad or whatever when he like ate it or whatever. Like totally. I don't know how he got through that, because like I wouldn't have.
More macaroni, less cheese.
Oh my God. Yeah, like that would have. And like the thing is, like he had the patience for all of that. Like he knew how to swallow his rage, probably because like he's that's like a practice that you have to have in order to like fight but not actually hurt someone.
And like that scene parallels another scene, which just shows like the same. It's like him in the same exact setting, except he's like upbeat and chipper and like, really friendly with all the customers. Mm-hmm. Versus like when he doesn't have anything to support, when he doesn't have anything that makes that worthwhile, he throws it all away again, because it's not enough for him to just support himself, because he doesn't consider that worthwhile. Ultimately,
fucking yikes.
Yeah. So scary. So realistic. Also, shouts out to fucking Mickey Rourke for, like, this fucking performance.
Oh my God, which so good.
I'm sure he got all sorts of accolades for, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Because if you just, like, consider someone acting exhausted, like, acting as though they'd had, because, like, he's moving, and it's a full body performance to, like, be in pain and to be worn down. So, like, really expert. and like heartrending to watch.
Yeah, both him and Marissa Tomei were nominated for an Academy Award, and they both like won a couple of various awards with different associations.
Totally. That's great. And also, lots of real wrestlers watched this film and like broke down about it and like felt really felt that it was a very accurate portrayal. Just as a side note, some fun facts about the reception among real wrestlers. Real wrestlers. What a phrase.
Oh, the last thing, I know that we're about to wrap up, but the last thing I want to say is that the like worst thing for me about this, like about his character, I think, is that like he's like a genuinely good person who just really like can't keep it all together, like physically or mentally or like emotionally. He can't like keep all his like ducks in a row. Like he sleeps through meeting his daughter. He like gets rejected by his like stripper friend, and then physically can't keep together his career. And it's like, but he like deserves something good, I guess. Like he's not like he fucks up, but like it's like not his fault. I don't know. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
He's still like a human. He still like has emotions.
Yeah.
And is like trying to be better.
Right.
And is like doing something that like it seems like he should get something good out of all of the effort that he's putting into the world.
It's just been so hard for him to take care of himself that he's never been able to take care of anybody else, I guess, is like my takeaway or my assessment of his character.
Yeah.
And like the world resents him for that.
I don't want to excuse him for abandoning his kid, though.
Yeah.
That's
like,
real.
not even for a second do I want to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can't even really say that I know if he's a genuinely good person.
That's true.
But at the same time, I think, like, the point stands that he, like, is being portrayed as a human being and, like, has the same pains and exhaustions and, like, aspirations as anyone would want for themselves. And it's mostly just to not be alone.
Yeah.
Which is, like, well, yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Same, son. All right, do we want to rate this? Or you got anything else to say? Maybe?
I'm good. Yeah.
I think I've talked about everything that I can think of right now. What's your number?
Oh man.
75309. Nice. Dude, we got that 3-part harmony.
That was great.
That
That sounded like the demons in horror movies.
All of them.
I am stuck because I don't know whether to give it a 9 or a 10.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, and I think we're maybe all trying to buy some time to figure out.
I'm gonna give it a 10.
All right.
What else did you give a 10? You gave something a 10.
I did. I had a good time. Oh,
You had a good time.
Psycho Killer. No, Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay,
No,
cool.
Yeah, Poltergeist.
I love the range of your 10s. It's like, what experience did I have? I'll rate that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a movie.
That's all I can do, because, like, it's just gonna be, like, what did Amy think of this movie? It's not, like, an objective
Totally.
comment, because I can't be objective.
And it's fun. It's, like, very honest of you not to pretend.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, fuck. 9. I, like, want to give it a 10, but I can't. Yeah.
You want to do 9.5? We do points.
Cool.
9.5.
Yeah, 9.5.
Oh, we got a little 9.5 going there.
Thanks.
So I don't know if
So
I
they
talked
do
you
that
into
at the
that
Olympics?
You've done 9.5 before.
Have I?
Yeah,
Was
or
it for
not
Poltergeist?
9.5.
It wasn't 9 point, but it was point something.
You did something
It's like
0.5.
7.
I've done a 9.5.
Amy's done a 9.5.
Nice.
I forget what
You
that
did
was for.
7.5 for The Beach.
All right, I would bump that up, but that's okay. Hey, Alex.
What?
If you had to pretend that numbers meant shit, what would you use for this one?
I'm gonna give this one 9 out of 10 chairs to the face.
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Look at you being all, like,
I want to come up with
self-referential.
one. Give me just a second. 9.5 neglected relationships
Oh.
out of 10.
Dude, LMAO.
So, is that okay?
10 out of 10 $300 collectible wrestling figures.
Nice.
Is it really worth that much?
No.
All right, and with that, we'll be right back with our wrestling names.
Dude, that's so much pressure. I can't do
So for next week, our wrestling nicknames will be. I'm the broadcaster.
I'm the bone saw.
And I'm Agnes the Dream Wrecker.
It's pretty fucking good.
Hell,
And-
fuck yeah, fuck.
And our merry group of masked wrestlers will be watching.
So this first one comes to us from a fan, actually. Five
Understatement.
Element Ninjas. It's on Netflix, and it was recommended by @DirkDirkDirk on Twitter. So yeah, we're gonna watch that one, and
We're also going to watch Antichrist by Lars von Trier.
which is on Netflix,
It's on Netflix.
and was not recommended by a fan. But hey, if you want to recommend movies for us to watch, then please feel free to do that. You can reach out to us, tell us what you think about movies, recommend stuff for us to watch on Facebook or Twitter or Tumblr. We're at the Netflix Club on all of those. On Twitter, we're the _Netflix Club. And you can find us on iTunes and Podbean for all your listening desires or something. We're also on YouTube also. So please feel free, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, tell us what you think, tell us what to watch, tell us when your birthday is, and maybe we'll say happy birthday, maybe.
We'll probably forget, though. I will.
Or I'll write it down.
Alex will know. Alex is really good about birthdays.
Keep her the keys.
So put your expectations really high up there.
Yeah, by the way, I'm guessing that you, listener, your birthday is May 42nd.
All right. Let us know if we were right on any one of our social media platforms.
And
You should do audio of like a truck passing by when you said
That's pretty funny. Can we edit post-production?
honk honk.
Do it in post.
Do it in post.
Meow.
That's what is that called? Foley work?
Yeah,
Terrible.
I'm really good at it.
Clearly.
Foley work is when you
when you make the voice of the noise.
or when you make up a sound effect, like, oh, it's supposed to sound like somebody walking on a wet floor, but you're actually just banging lettuce against a table to make the same sound.
Right.
That's Foley work. So catch us next week when we'll be doing Foley work with 5 Element Ninjas and Antichrist.
I'll be suffering, and so will you.